morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the weekly SMB Nation webinar. It's Thursday. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. Shout out that it's noon in Chicago, where we have a packed house right now. We have the Office 365 Nation workshop going on. Got great photos up on Facebook if you want to go take a peek. Not while we're in the webinar. Go peek later. But that's underway as we speak. Speaking of housekeeping items like that, we have Dallas coming up on the 30th of April. So if you're in the Texas area, I guess we mean Dallas to include all the way down to Houston and up into Oklahoma and so on. So make a day of it, make 2 days of it to come to our Office 365 Nation workshop in Dallas Thursday in the month. And then shortly after that, mid-month, Thursday, the 16th of May in Washington, D.C., we are very close to announcing some additional cities. So we're announcing the Fort Lauderdale, Charlotte, Boston. So we'll be announcing that shortly, and those will be over the summertime, basically. Later today, keep your eyes on the newsletter, because later today we're launching a technical connected event, for lack of a better words. It's going to be streaming video live from the Varvid studios in the Puget Sound area out here, and that's June 2nd and 3rd. So that's strictly technical. It's Office 365, Windows 10, and Azure with our core speakers, and a chance for you to avoid the traffic. And I want to make sure, Karl, make a note when I introduce you to give a shout out to your online conference that follows several weeks after ours and what you're doing. Folks, the other housekeeping item, Beer Fest at WPC on July 12th down in Orlando, as usual. And you'll see us at CompTIA. You'll see Jenny at Channel Pro in early May down in San Jose. And finally, the fall conference, October 1 through 3. Whew, boy, Karl, I'm out of breath, Karl.
It's awesome. There's so much great stuff going on in this community.
I feel like a late-night talk show where I'm saying what venues in Vegas I'll be doing comedy. But with that said, folks, we always keep it light, we keep it fun, but today we're actually keeping it serious. The topic today essentially revolves around we're 90 days out from the end of support for Windows Server 2003 and what that means. And there's a couple twists. So, for example, this webinar is brought to you with the kind and generous support of Skykick, and we're going to hear from Skykick at the bottom of the hour and a migration tool they have. Appreciate you taking a look at that. With that said, Mr. Migration himself, Karl. So, Karl, let's start with your calendar before we jump into it, because I know you're a traveling man, but more importantly, is it your third or fourth year of your online conference in late June? What's the story?
Yeah, this is our 4th year for the SMB Online Conference. It's amazing when you look back, like, wow, we've really been doing this for 4 years. And we have an amazing set of speakers this year, including some folks that are not specifically from this space. One of them that I'll mention is John Armato, works for Fleshman Hiller, which is the largest PR firm in the world, and he's going to talk about some strategies of looking at things a little bit differently. So stuff like that, where we're going to mix up some of the DNA, so it's not just all SMB folks talking about SMB folks. Anyway, that's coming up June 23rd, 24th, and 25th, online, obviously. And I'll have my email towards the end, so folks can get in touch with me or go to SmallBizThoughts if they have any questions or they want to look into that.
Okay, and Karl, will you be at some are you going to be at some shows?
Oh yeah, well, I'm going to the Channel Pro conference. I'll see Jenny there,
okay.
and then I'm also going to be at the Business Solutions is having a Retail IT Bar of the Future conference, and that's coming up in May as well. And then I'll be at Robin Robbins' big show next week. So
I was going to say that's next week.
Yeah.
All right. Good on you.
Oh. Yeah. I'll be at the Dixon Mayfair. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'll be doing comedy at the Rio in Vegas on the. No.
Yeah, I'm opening for the Doobie Brothers at the county fair.
There we go. All right, Karl, I'll tell you what, they've been patient. We're having too much fun. We have an agenda. Let's get going.
All right, so today we're going to talk, I'm going to talk about a couple of different things that are coming up in the migration world. And Harry, obviously jump in because this is your wheelhouse as well. And then Skykick is going to talk about specifically some stuff with migration for some strategies for making money in the Office 365 world. So let's get going. Lots of room for questions at the end. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand and we'll get to those at the end. So here's what's going on this year. This is why this year is so huge. And there's kind of three big factors. Think about, do you want to be using a cell phone that you used in 2003, right? Nextel doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, look at those bad boys.
In fact, antennas don't exist anymore. So, we eliminated that altogether. But, there are people who are still running old software, and a lot of them, they didn't buy a new machine last year and put 2003 server on it. These machines are long in the tooth as well. And so end of support means something very specific. And the biggest thing that it means for your clients is they can't possibly be secure or compliant with modern requirements. And there will be no more security updates. And, that's there's a huge opportunity. And HP is making a big push to get 11 million servers moved from Small Business Server 2003 to newer technology. And Microsoft, and I think it's a Gartner number, that there's 23.8 million servers still running some version of Server 2003. And obviously that's a huge opportunity for us. And if you have clients that are in this realm, obviously you need to work with them. But there's also a lot of people in your community that need this, and they may not be your current clients. But what a great way to get new clients is to tell people, hey, I can make you legal again. I can keep you from having insecure stuff. The second huge opportunity is that Windows 10 will be released this year. And I say, the death of Windows 7 only because Microsoft has this policy that you can install the N-1 operating system. So right now you can buy a Windows 7 machine because it's really Windows 8 downgraded to Windows 7, and that's the way they're shipping from the factory. Well, when Windows 10 is released, Windows 8 will be the N-1. So if people continue to want to avoid Windows 8, then your only option will be Windows 10. And Windows 7 will not be available in any flavor, including open license. So, that's a huge thing that you got to figure out what you want to do with. And obviously, the other one is the Office 365. I've seen the pictures from Harry's tour, and every city seems to be completely full. And there's a huge opportunity there because people see it. It's a reasonable price, and you're going to get a lot of questions about it, and if you haven't got them already. It's also going to be something where you got to figure out strategically what you want to do. So if you think about getting off of Server 2003 of any flavor, SBS or anything else, the question is, what are you migrating to? We have installed very few servers in the last 5 years. We have moved lots of people to the cloud. We have a different kind of server, a much lighter server that we like to put on site. So even though, I've got a couple of clients that have, a big, DL580 or an ML350, they're good servers on site, but we have a lot more clients that have got the little bitty HP cubes, the small servers running Server Essentials or Foundation Server. And so, you've got to figure out strategically what are you going to do with all of this. And let me just show you this Visio diagram. Think about all of your clients. What will their network look like, let's say, in the next 3 to 5 years? And what will you have on site? What I call server light is something we don't even tell clients what it is anymore because nobody cares. It's either a storage server or it's a Server Essentials or Foundation server on site. It's just enough storage so that they can put maybe QuickBooks on it or or if they have CAD files and they need that local speed, they have that. But it's backed up to the cloud. Their exchange is in the cloud, right? Their databases are in the cloud. Their web's been in the cloud for a long, long time. Their spam filtering is in the cloud, right? So we're slowly moving to having pretty much everything be in the cloud except a couple of things that have to live on site. And I would encourage you, if you send me an email, I will send you this Visio as just a place to start. But I would encourage you to build a plan and literally like write a proposal for your clients and say, here's what I think you need to do. And you got two options. Proposal A is, here's a $5,000 server and $5,000 worth of labor, and we will hook you up, and you know, you'll have exchange on site, and we can do all of that. Option B is, we're going to sell you this little server that costs $1,000, and we're going to move email up to the cloud. We're going to move your line of business, you know, to a hosted service, so forth and so on. And the options are pretty clear, especially when all of those cloud services are monthly dollar amounts, right? So that people can either put all their money up at once or they can do a monthly payment. And a friend of mine told me a long time ago that the main reason that most Americans don't own an elephant is they've never been offered one for low monthly payments. You know, people love to make these payments for just the services they need. And that way, if you add mailboxes, you pay more. You take off mailboxes, you pay less. And you're always right-sizing the amount of services that you buy. We're used to it with cell phones. We're getting used to it with everything else. I think everybody on this call probably sells some kind of on-site backup, some kind of disaster recovery system. And so we're just moving to putting more and more of our stuff up on the cloud. It's very comfortable. It's very reasonable. And so I encourage you to literally build a proposal for your clients that says, here's what we want to do. And some version of that can be taken to every client and every prospect you have, because this technology is now very mature. It's not like 5 years ago when people are like, oh, I don't know if I trust the cloud. You know, when I look at it, I got a little handwritten sign in my office that says, Rackspace has spent $7.4 billion more than we have on security, right? Yeah. So, you know, the cloud is very, very secure. And if, you know, you can't pick Cousin Larry's pretty good, you know, cloud system where they've got a server in their garage. You have to go with a brand name. But with that, these companies are for profit. They've got a lot on the line. They are certified. They're in data centers that are rock solid, and they're not going down. And, you know, one of the lessons from Superstorm Sandy a few years ago was that everybody who had their stuff up in the cloud or backed up to the cloud continued operating without any issues. And it was the people who couldn't get to their servers when the electricity went out for a week that had problems. So, you know, think about, you know, this is the 21st century. There was a time when people said, oh, I don't want electricity in my office. Somebody will get electrocuted and die. And there was a time when people said, we don't need telephones in the office. They're just an annoyance. And there was a time where people said, I can't make my business rely on the internet because what happens if it goes down? And, you know, we're now at the point where we can say, look, it's no longer a valid argument to say, I don't want my stuff in the cloud because it might go down. Yeah, the cloud might go down. Electricity might go out. The telephones might stop working. All kinds of things.
Well, and California might run out of water, Karl. So there.
Well, it might. But it won't run out of the cloud.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Karl, what I was going to add is what we're seeing, and, you know, you never want to offend the voters that put you in office, right? So, you know, you and I have enjoyed hopefully handsome, if not fun, career based on on-prem technology, and I honor that. However, what we're seeing even today in Chicago is people who hate the cloud are self-selecting themselves out of the conversation. So, you know, that's fine, right? You have the right to hate the cloud, and there's, still homestead land in Alaska available for you to build your cabin, literally. But we're seeing them self-select away from the conversation, and that's great, because at our workshops, what you have is you have people that are really they're serious, they're there for some important reasons, and they want to have adult conversations about 365 in the cloud and so on. What we're not seeing, Karl, is we're not seeing the barroom brawl that you're potentially alluding to about 5 years ago. Oh,
Right.
I hate cloud. Let's arm wrestle.
Right. Well, and there are clients who are just confused about it, but it's an old truism that confusion is just an opportunity to make money. That if clients are confused about the cloud, that's good for us. That's pure opportunity. Clients have never understood technology. I mean, they think they do, but clients come to you and you think about somebody who's a dentist. He's never going to be able to figure out, how do I get my Active Directory to sync with Office 365 and then have the single sign-on, and where do I store my stuff, and how does it get backed up, and how do I know that that's safe, and how do I test it? Dentist is never going to be able to do this, right? It's not his job. It's not what he wants to do. And so the cloud isn't anything to compete with. It's simply another opportunity for us to do what we say we do, which is to be a consultant and consult.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So with the and here's my email. So if you want a copy of the Visio diagram as just a starter place, I'd be happy to send that to you. So for Server 2003, I think that what you want to do is build a model network of the future and sell it that way. I mean, go to clients and say, we're going to put everything in the right place. And by right placing technology, what I simply mean is everything has a place where it's going to work best. And the biggest challenge that people have faced with the cloud services has been virtual desktops, right? So today I personally am only going to sell real desktops that sit on real desks or laptops. But I'm also never going to put in another Exchange server in a client that's only got 5 or 10 employees. I'm never going to do that again. So I'm going to put Exchange where it belongs, which in my opinion is in the cloud. I'm going to put my backup in the cloud. Sometimes I'm going to put the backup locally, depending on the client, right? So you have to right place each thing, and you have to figure out, what is the best thing for each client. And just like in the days of SBS 2003, there is kind of this 90% model where almost everybody looks the same, right? That if you build a really good strategy, most of your clients are going to fall into the same Visio diagram time after time after time. So draft up for your clients a proposal, or even for your prospects, and say, here's what we're going to do with migration. And the important piece is you can do it one thing at a time. So you don't have to have a big migration thing where you say, oh, we're going to do it this Tuesday or this Saturday. You can say, well, we're going to move the web now, or we're going to put in this file storage next month. We're going to move the email the month after. We're going to do the monitoring and patch management. You can do these things one at a time. That's actually the beauty of cloud services. You don't have to buy it all from the same place. You don't have to do it all in a weekend. You can do these things one at a time, and it's really possible to have zero downtime migrations when you're moving stuff to the cloud, because it's pretty straightforward to move things up, point everybody to the new stuff, turn the old stuff off. And there's a lot of strategies for that. In terms of Windows 10, I would ask clients a very simple question. Do you love Windows 7? Buy now, right? And here's the way to do that, and get them the proposal and tell them, we don't know exactly when it's going to be released, but let's say it's in the fall. Then buy now means now. And if you don't care about Windows 7 versus Windows 10, or you always want the latest and greatest, then by all means, buy Windows 10. And Microsoft has said there'll be a free upgrade from 8 to 10. So, and I don't know if the free upgrade includes 7, but certainly it'll be easy to get people to Windows 10 if that's what they want. Again, I would put those proposals in place now and try to get people off of the old equipment. One of the nice things about being at the end of a recession is people've got really old equipment that they haven't replaced in 7 years, and so it's painfully slow for them, and now is a great opportunity. And especially when you've got a lot of stuff that's in the cloud, the machine that you need today, almost anything you buy is going to be powerful enough to deal with all the things that people need in an office. You don't have to sell them a $1,500 or a $2,000 laptop in order for it to be good enough to do everything they need to do. But clients, again, they probably don't know that because they don't go shopping and they don't live in the world of technology the way you do. In terms of Office 365, again, I think it's the same thing. You got to create a strategy, figure out who you're going to work with, draft proposals for your clients and your prospects, and say, this is the wave of the future, and this is just the way we're going to do it. So what is your strategy, and exactly how are we going to get this done? And that's why one of the reasons why we're talking to Skykick today is they've got a specific approach to this that I think is very useful. Now, in terms of me, let me just give you a quick offer before I turn this over to Jake. I have a book. It's about 590 pages I wrote with my brother, and this has been selling like crazy for, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years. And right now, you can get $50 off at smbooks.com. Just use the code SKYKICK, and that will get you that code. And with that, then I will turn it over to Jake, and then after that, we'll have some questions.
Okay, so Jake, are you out there? Is now a good time?
Now is the perfect time. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Harry. So I'll go ahead and share my screen.
And Carl, Jake, while you're getting set up, Carl, I'll also have some questions in the second half of the webinar, so you're not going to get off scot-free today. Okay. Gonna do a little Socratic teaching methodology.
All right. Very good.
All right, Jake, looks like you're on screen, sir. Let's keep this party going. Thank you.
All right, let's do it. So again, thank you, Harry, and thank you, Carl. So to everyone out there, my name is Jake Ferris. I'm an account executive at Skykick. And if you're not familiar with Skykick, we're essentially in the business of automating the entire Office 365 migration project for partners like you. We are 100% dedicated to the partner ecosystem, meaning that in no way, shape, or form can a customer procure Skykick licenses. The only way that they can be procured is through Skykick and Microsoft partners like yourself. And not only that, when it comes to the improvements and the advancements of our platform, it's all based on partner feedback. So we like to think of our platform being built by partners for partners just like you. So with that, what I'm going to do here is essentially place an order, an Office 365 migration order in the Skykick platform and in the Skykick Web Planner. The Web Planner essentially covers the sales assessment and SOW phase of an Office 365 migration project. And what we're going to do is establish a connection with our customer's source email system and be provided with all the mailboxes, all the distribution groups, aliases, public folders, and shared mailboxes of our customer's source email system, and provide that within the Skykick project planner. And all we need to do that, and all we need to establish that connection, is the customer's email address and the password to that mailbox. So even in just putting that email address there, I see that the email provider, in this case, and for our customer, is self-co-located, and that the domain registrar is GoDaddy. So it then prompts me to input the customer information here, and this is the part where we're going to make that connection with the source email system and be provided with all the mailboxes, distribution groups, aliases, everything that's associated with our customer's current email system, and provide that within the Skykick Web Planner. So our technology right here is essentially running multiple tests to determine what exactly the customer's source email system is. And we have a successful connection here, and for this particular customer, it is an on-premise Exchange source email system. But I'd like to add that when it comes to the source email systems that you can migrate your customers from, Skykick tries and does a great job of allowing partners like you to essentially migrate from any source email system to Office 365. This includes Exchange 2003 and up. It includes IMAP, Google, POP environments, and on a case-by-case basis, even Lotus Notes, Zimbra, and group-wise source email systems. So we established a successful connection here with our customer's source email system. We'll go ahead and click on Next Step, and this now brings us to the Office 365 tab. So a part of what we automate and what our technology automates is the provisioning of the Office 365 tenant. So right here, what we can do is actually have the Skykick Web API and the Skykick platform create the Office 365 tenant for our customer, and have you as a partner, as the partner of record on that Office 365 tenant, so that all fees that are so that Microsoft will pay you as a partner all fees associated with this Office 365 tenant being created, and they're going to pay you directly. So with this, you're going to be making money on that tenant, on that Office 365 tenant that's being created by the Skykick platform. So if you're utilizing Ingram Micro or Synex and their open licensing programs, you can certainly put those Office 365 admin credentials here. We'll make a connection with that Office 365 tenant that's already been created through one of those open licensing programs and automate the migration to Office 365 with the tenant that's already been created. And a best practice around this is actually sending out trials, Office 365 trials, to your customers so that they can try it out, and kind of like a try and buy program. So in this case, we'll have Skykick create that Office 365 tenant. So I'll click on No and go to Next Step.
And there we go. Hey, Jake, I'll make mention now, and I'll make mention a little bit later. So first of all, folks, a little bit of housekeeping at the bottom of the hour. Appreciate you attending our migration webinar, generously underwritten by Skykick, an Office 365 migration tool. And there's going to be a chance for you to interact with Skykick after the webinar. So you'll see a URL, skykick.com/SMBNation. Appreciate it if you do a reach out to Skykick and have a chat. Jake, looks like you have the next screen. Let's rock.
I do. Yeah, and on that note, Harry, so for all the partners out there that are not yet registered as Skykick partners, it is completely free to you, and we keep everything behind our firewall because, again, we're a 100% two-partner company, and when it comes to pricing and when it comes to the way in which our technology works and automates the Office 365 migration, that's all behind the firewall, which means that in order to have access to that, you'll need to register as a partner. So you can simply go to skykick.com/SMBNation. I'll have the link on one of the slides I'm going to show later on, and that's going to be the best way for you to register as a partner. And again, it's completely free, and you can do exactly what I'm doing here, going through mailbox discovery and automating the sales assessment and SOW stage of that Office 365 migration project at no charge to you. So we come to the review accounts page, and this is really where we get the big wow from all of our partners and all of and all the customers that have seen the Skykick platform. And you may be asking, how exactly is the customer able to see the Skykick platform when you are 100% to partner? Well, something that some of our top partners suggested is to allow the capability to white label the Skykick platform, specifically the Skykick Web Planner, so that the partner could show the customer and walk the customer through the Office 365 migration experience via the Skykick Web Planner. So as you can see in the upper left-hand corner right here, this awesome IT logo, this is where you can upload your company's logo within the Skykick Web Planner and walk your customer through the Skykick Office 365 migration experience. And it's a best practice of our partners to do that because it really instills a high level of confidence in the customer that you as a partner will be able to execute on that migration, because as seamless as everything is working here, it's definitely a huge confidence builder, especially for net new customers. Now, what I'm going to do is with Office 365 licensing, I can add Exchange Online Plan 2 licenses, all the Office 365 licenses available. And because we've chosen the Skykick platform and Skykick technology to automate the provisioning of the Office 365 tenant, these are the licenses that will show up in that tenant. And let's say that the customer would like to do a mix of Exchange Online Plan 2 and E3 licenses. As I change these licenses from E3 to Exchange Online Plan 2, I see that the price in the lower right-hand corner right here is changing accordingly. So in that sense, our platform and the Skykick Web Planner can be utilized as a sales tool for Office 365 and the migration there too. Now, a couple cool features that I'd like to cover are the fancy mode configuration functionality. So with fancy mode, and when it comes to walking through a customer, or sorry, walking a customer through the Skykick Web Planner, let's say that the customer notices that Adam Fox's mailbox shows up in the Skykick Web Planner, but Adam Fox is actually no longer with the company. So we don't need an Office 365 license associated with his mailbox, but you as a partner can actually position a couple of things to help out in the migration of Office 365, given that Adam Fox is no longer with the company, but he is the executive assistant to Alberto Benson. So what you as a partner can position via fancy mode is have all emails that are being sent to Adam Fox and have them forwarded to the CEO's mailbox. So what I'll do is type in Alberto. And what you can also position here is you can have Adam Fox's current mailbox migrated to Alberto's mailbox. Now when I click on Update, there's no longer an Office 365 license associated with Adam Fox's mailbox because he's no longer with the company and there's no need for a license to be associated with his mailbox. But when I click on Alberto's mailbox here, we see that there are some mailbox contingencies that Alberto will receive all future emails sent to Adam Fox, and that Alberto will also receive Adam Fox's current mailbox. Now for those larger migrations, we have something called bulk fancy mode, where you can push out a fancy mode configuration to multiple mailboxes at the same time. And bulk fancy mode configurations include the ability to change the username format from first.last to, let's say, first initial last name. You can also delete multiple mailboxes. And let's say that I wanted to remove 3 users, Elizabeth, Donna, and Dolores. Go ahead and go back up, click on Update, and that bulk fancy mode configuration is going to be pushed out, and those 3 users will be removed from the Office 365 migration plan. Now as I scroll down here, we also discover public folders, and it looks like we have a marketing, sales and marketing folder there. So what I'm going to need to do is add some users that are licensed to Office 365, and we no longer have that alert. Now, when it comes to adding net new public folders or shared mailboxes, it's a very simple and easy process. Let's say that we wanted to do sales and marketing. Click on Submit. And let's say that we wanted to add the marketing team, obviously. So I'll add Freddie and Freya. Add that to the list. Click on Submit List. And that net new public folder will show up in the Office 365 tenant that the Skykick technology is going to create. And the same process goes for the shared mailbox. It's a simple and easy process to create that shared mailbox. Now we also find the distribution groups. So you and the customer can go through the distribution lists and the members, so you can easily delete those. Click on Submit. As you can see, we came from 6 members to 4 members. As I scroll down, we get to the migration date part, where we're going to choose a migration/cutover date for this particular project. Now, when I click on DNS cutover, I'm provided with a suggested date of April 23rd. Now, we've created an algorithm in which we take a number of factors, such as the amount of mailboxes, the type of source environment, among other factors, to provide you with a suggested date of April 23rd. Now, we'd like to do the cutover on Friday after office hours once they leave, so we'll go ahead and, let's say, choose 6 o'clock, April 24th. We'll go ahead and submit that. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to the cutover date, you can actually change that after order placement. So with that, we'll go ahead and click on Next Step. And this now brings us to the Settings tab. Now, the Settings tab provides us with the recommended migration route. We have a new functionality called hands-free. I won't go into that. I'll just stick with our standard migration route, as it seems like the majority of the audience here are new to Office 365, new to Skykick and our Office 365 migration platform. So as I scroll down, the standard migration route is a suggested route, and we're going to utilize source mailbox and have all users, and we're going to have email sent to each and every individual user that's a part of the Office 365 migration. Now, the emails that are being sent to the users, first and foremost, they'll need to go through password reception, meaning that they'll need to provide the credentials to their source mailbox in order for the Skykick technology to make a connection with each and every end user's source mailbox and migrate and automate the migration to Office 365 and their Office 365 mailbox. So the first email that's going to be sent will have you as a partner on each and every email. So the partner company name will be at the bottom here, and your logo will be on each and every email. So it's you as a partner taking ownership of the Office 365 migration project here and taking ownership of our platform. Now right here, the Start button, there's an embedded URL that will lead them to a secure web page in which they'll provide the credentials to their current mailbox. And after they provide their credentials, they'll then receive emails, and the last email being the 10 minutes before migration time to inform them of the cutover and what exactly is going to happen. That Outlook actually needs to restart in order for their mailbox to now be Office 365 rather than, let's say, Exchange 2010 in this example. Now, a great part of the Skykick migration suite is the Skykick Outlook Assistant. Now, the Skykick Outlook Assistant is a lightweight application that's downloaded on each and every desktop and laptop as a part of the migration plan that essentially recreates the end user's current Outlook experience to that of Office 365. Now that means that we're migrating all the data that's residing on that desktop or laptop, such as the NK2 files, for signature blocks, and in POP environments, that would include mail, calendars, and contacts. The Outlook Assistant enables you to essentially complete an Office 365 migration remotely, because the Outlook Assistant is also creating that net new Office 365 Outlook profile and will automate the flip of the Outlook profile to Office 365. Now, as a part of that password reception piece, and the email is being sent directly to all end users, the Skykick Outlook Assistant will also be downloaded by each and every end user. And it's a very simple and user-friendly process to download the Skykick Outlook Assistant. And we found that the best way to go through the password reception and retrieve all the source mailbox credentials, as well as the download of the Skykick Outlook Assistant, is to crowdsource it and have the end users do those pieces of the Skykick migration. So in this case, we'll have all users download the Outlook Assistant via the password reception page, which are the emails that are being sent directly to the end users. Keep in mind you can also deploy the Skykick Outlook Assistant via group policy. And when it comes to end user credentials, we'll stick with the password reception page. Now when it comes to the communications that are being sent, you actually have a couple of options. They don't necessarily have to be sent to each and every end user. You can have those emails sent directly to you as a partner or the customer primary point of contact. So I'll stick with the end user because we like to crowdsource it, and I'll click on Next Step. And right there we're turning off SSI, which is source-side impersonation. So I'll skip over because it can sometimes take 30 seconds or so. So the next tab that we'll jump to is the DNS sync. Now the DNS sync and the switch of the MX records is also something that the Skykick platform and our technology can automate, and that will require you as a partner to put in the DNS admin credentials. But in this case, let's just stick with partially automated and click on Next Step. And it looks like because I pre-cooked all the tabs, it won't let me place the order because I've already placed it, so that I can go through this part right here, the tab that happens right after you place the order. So basically what I'm doing is I'll choose the partially automated option, which then brings me to the final review page. And because internet and demos never go right or as planned, I like to pre-cook each and every tab. So this final review page comes up, and it gives me a summary of the entire migration. And once I place that order, it brings me to this tab. And this tab provides me an overview of the entire ABC Consultants migration project. I have all these different chevrons. I can see that the Office 365 tenant is currently in the process of being created, that all end users are receiving those emails now, and the Skykick Outlook Assistant, we are in the process of notifying users, so no Skykick Outlook Assistant downloads have happened as of yet. But as you can see with our migration dashboard, we have alerts that will pop up if there's anything that needs to be acted upon on your end in order to keep the migration project on time and on task. So with that, I'll pass it back to Harry, as that's the end of my demo. What I would like to show here is this slide right here. It's very simple and easy to get started on the Skykick platform. Again, if you haven't registered as a Skykick partner already, please do so through SMB Nation. Go to skykick.com/SMB Nation, and you'll be able to register as a Skykick partner there. And all that's really needed is your company information as well as your NPN. And we have a technical support team that's available 24/5, and they can help you out pre-migration, during the migration, and post-migration. And that's support by phone and email at no extra charge to you. And last but not least, we have a Microsoft co-sponsored promotion called Internal Use Rights, which provides you as a partner with free Skykick Migration Suite licenses to move your company to the Office 365 platform.
Very cool. All right, sir. Well, thank you very much. So, Heather, in the over in the radio control room, Heather, I think we'll need to give the magic wand, back to Karl Palachuk. And thanks, Jake. Appreciate that. And folks, again, skykick.com/SMB Nation. So let's look, folks. It's a great time to queue up your questions. If you could go ahead and put those in chat, appreciate it. I'll ask the questions. So, Karl, couple questions for you. Let's talk about the book that you wrote, because I want to kind of get the proper placement in people's minds, why it's important. Essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, here's my perception of your book. I have a copy. Been a little while since I've opened the covers, but it makes a great door opener, great door holder. So I resemble that remark, let me tell you, with my books.
It's the size of something they used to call the phone book, but nobody has a phone book anymore, so I figured that you should have at least one book that size and shape.
There you go. Your book, you and I, never met an academic community we didn't like, and quite frankly, I think your book could be used in the academic community. Your book is primarily a methodology book, right? And it differs from other migration solutions. I mean, for example, a Skykick that we just saw, they certainly have methodology resources and they have a framework. I'll give them that, but they have a step-by-step, click-by-click tool. That's not your book. Is that right?
Well, so actually the book has two halves, almost exactly. The second half is a click-by-click migration to do a very manual migration if you choose to do that, with all kinds of templates and so forth. The thing is, if you use a tool like Skykick, you literally automate the whole section on email migration, right? You just skip that piece of the 200-page checklist. But the first half of the book covers all of the business side of it. It literally, how do you manage the project? How do you communicate with the client? Templates I love the email templates in Skykick because it's exactly the kind of thing we do, is to keep the client completely informed. We're going to be doing this migration, and so they've automated the email piece, but what about the data? Okay, well, you have to tell clients on this day, in the morning we're going to have this set up, and in the afternoon we're going to have that set up, and here's what's going to happen, and keep them informed. So we have all of the project management piece. We also have huge templates on quoting the project, right? How do you estimate the project? How do you make sure that you stay on time, on budget, make all your promises? And so, the first half of the book is literally all the business side of designing the project, selling the project, managing the project, and making sure that you've delivered something that is exactly what you had promised. So it's truly project management of the migration itself. And like anything else, you have to customize it for each client, and you have to customize it for each project. But it's a huge help, even if you never use the big checklist.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what I do have a couple questions queued up. Thank you, folks. We'll get to each and every one. Keep them coming. I guess my feeling there is so first of all, you have a number of books out. So let's put a wrapper around all this. You have a project management book out. You have some other books out. Just for point of reference, quickly, where can people go get more information on your entire library?
You could always get the books at smbooks.com, and most of our stuff is also available on Amazon. So if people want the Kindle format, or if you shop Barnes & Noble and so forth, most of our books are available there as well. There's a handful that are just available at SMB Books. So buy it wherever you want.
No, so we'll start with that, and I guess what I like is that this is kind of a resource. You know, guys, I look at it this way. There's tools out there. Today we're thankful for the support of Skykick, specific to the exchange migrations up to 365. Jeff Middleton, who I quite frankly haven't bumped into in a while, but he has the SBS migration kit. Haven't had the pleasure of talking to Jeff in a while, but there's different books and tools and so on. And Karl, what I'm getting at is that I've been in. I was in a conversation earlier this week where I was telling individual about my background, and truth be told, my concentration when I got my master's, my MBA, was in project management. They actually called it construction management, but it was really, basically a 2-year degree in how to run Primavera enterprise project management software, and that's fine. The cool thing is, Karl, it transferred 100% to IT, right? So I never did become a home builder. I went straight into technology, and it was a beautiful thing. And that's kind of what I'm getting at is that this is sort of what some of the things you're doing with this book and your other books are kind of they're applicable to different scenarios, and so we're talking about the migration planning process and so on, and then will you use other tools and other books? Of course, right? It's not like I only had one book on project management in my career, one tool. In fact, the tool I've struggled to use over the years is Microsoft Project, and I'm looking at others like eProject and Maven and some other things that are a little simpler, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing, so the book that I wrote on project management, I co-wrote that with Dana Goulston, who is one of the 3 authors of the PMBOK, the project management body of knowledge, and he has, he has to approve every single word of every update to that book, which is kind of cool. But he wanted to do something for small business because, we acknowledge at the get-go, I'm not building a house. I'm not building something that's going to cost $100,000 or $200,000. I'm not building an airplane. I'm not building a hospital. I'm installing a network. It's a very manageable thing, but most people don't manage projects. They don't literally put limits on what is and is not in the scope of the project, and they don't keep track of time, and they sometimes don't even know if they're profitable. And I just think that's a sin. I think you should always be profitable, but you should at a minimum know whether or not you're profitable. And so that specific book, it's probably used for any small project, but obviously all of our examples are in the IT space.
Yep. Okay, so Karl, let's thank you. Let's very specific questions now. So we've set the table. Let me back up. Wonderful presentation today. Recorded slides. Yes, recorded. Yes. Hey, wait a minute, Karl. You posted that up. Wonderful presentation. Just kidding, Karl. Just kidding. Next question. How about migration from SBS Essentials 2011? Does your book have that kind of specificity for a SKU or a product?
So this book was last updated right immediately before 2012 came out. So it has migration to SBS 2011. There's a chapter on that. I mean, the checklist is universal, so you just use the pieces that will get you to 2011. In terms of moving off of 2011, that's surprisingly straightforward. The real interesting thing about SBS is that, people in the enterprise have often looked down on SBS and said, oh, it's a kids network or whatever. But the reality is, if you've been using SBS, if you've been supporting that for whatever, 15 years, it's a hugely complicated system. And anything that's just basic server, NT server of any flavor is so much easier and so simpler. And moving data, moving accounts, moving Active Directory is really straightforward compared to managing a small business server network. So moving off of server 2011 and moving onto the cloud is really straightforward. You just literally pick one thing at a time and move it, and again, it can all be done with essentially zero downtime.
Yeah, that's the key point, and you know, you're absolutely right. SBS being kind of everything is a very different motion than, quite frankly, at the enterprise where you have large teams. And Karl, you may be assigned to a very specific, having a team develop an API call from MySQL to Salesforce. It's a very different motion, right? Versus SBS, you're kind of doing the whole thing, brother.
Well, you know, around here we have E-Trade and HP and Intel and NEC. We have all these really big companies, and so when they lay people off, they all say, "Oh, maybe I'll just go be a consultant for a while." So I've interviewed some of these guys. I remember one guy, he was an exchange administrator, and I said, "Oh, really? Great. So tell me, you know, do you have experience with, you know, setting up new users on a smaller network?" He goes, "Oh, I've never set up a new user." I said, "Oh, okay, well, how about this?" And I would ask him one thing at a time, and basically he had no experience and no knowledge. And so finally I said, "What do you do? You know, when you go to work, what do you do?" And he said, "Well, I install updates. So every day they give me a CD, and I go take it and put it in an Exchange server, and I apply the updates and restart the services. Then I take the CD and I go to the next server, and I put it in there, and I do the same thing for 8 hours." And that's what he does. And his title is Exchange Administrator, and he's got all these certifications, but that's his entire experience is completely useless in my business.
Yeah, I'll add value to that. That in-house IT at the enterprise level, unfortunately, no offense, but you get in the trap of doing. You work at a job for 8 years, and you've done a 1-year job 8 times, right? The versus in a consultant, it's just the opposite. You've done 8 years in 1 because of the client diversity. Hey, Karl, a couple questions before we hit the top of the hour. Skykick, what is the pricing structure? So, Jake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer that people go ahead and go to skykick.com/SMBNation. Start that process. Jake and his team will get right back to you on pricing. The reason we didn't go there today is this is an academic webinar today, generously underwritten by Skykick, and we wanted Skykick to show the good stuff today. So you do need to have a further conversation with them. I totally get it. Next question is service agreements for SMB consultants. Amazon mention of no CD. Karl, I can't speak to that. The next question is the book still valid 9 years later? So don't even know about no CD, but the bigger question is 9 years later, service agreements. Karl?
Yeah, so I think the book is relevant. Obviously, you know, that pretty much everything in it is still valid. There's nothing expired in that time, but the CD is now delivered electronically as a download. So once you register that book at smbooks.com, there's a little place where you can register that, send a copy of your Amazon invoice, and we will send you the downloads.
Darn it, that's what happened to my action-packed quarterly mailer. I thought the meth addicts were ripping off my country mailbox, Karl. Now, you know, I get a little chippy, right, Karl?
Well, a little chippy, I don't know about that.
Yeah, if I ever change, we got a bigger problem. But, hey, folks, that brings us, let me just do a sanity check here on the Q&A format. Yeah, we're clear on Q&A. We are right at the top of the hour, folks. So as you know, we like to just keep it well within the hour, get everybody back to work, good times ahead. So tune in next week for the weekly webinar. You'll get a notification on that. And then Dallas is the end of the month, Thursday the 30th, our Dallas workshop. The 16th, I believe it is, of May, a Thursday, out in Washington, D.C. Later today, we're launching the Connected event, a technical 2-day conference, June 2nd and 3rd. The fall conference is up. See Karl next week at Robin Robbins. I'll be at Lenovo Accelerate the following week. Thank you very much. And folks, please, please, please go to skykick.com/SMB Nation is your next step. Also visit Karl's site, SMB Books, to pick up today's book. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.